The sky was dark. Snow fell like sharp needles from above. The wind screamed across the white land. A small spaceship lay broken on the ground, smoke rising from its side. It had crashed hours ago. Inside the wreckage, a young woman held her baby close to her chest. Her name was Lena. Her baby boy had no name yet. He was just a few days old. His skin was soft, his breath small and warm, but out here everything was freezing. Lena's lips were blue, her hands were shaking, her coat was torn. She tried to stay awake, but her body was weak. Please, just a little more, she whispered to herself. She looked at the broken ship. Nothing worked. No power, no signal, no heat. The ship's systems were dead. Just like this planet, the place had no name. It was a lost world, cold, empty, no signs of life. She wrapped the baby tighter in a cloth. His face was red from the cold. He did not cry anymore. That made her scared. "Please don't sleep," she said. "Please stay with me." But she had to move. If they stayed inside the ship, they would die. She took a deep breath, held the baby to her chest, and stepped out into the storm. The snow hit her face like tiny knives. Her boots sank into the white ground. Every step was slow, heavy. She walked for hours, maybe more. Time was hard too. Feel in the cold. She looked for anything, a cave, a hole, some rocks, anything that could block the wind. But the land was empty. Her legs were giving up. She fell to her knees. The baby whimpered, and that small sound gave her strength. She stood again, and then finally she saw it. A crack in the side of a hill, a small opening like a mouth in the mountain. Cave. She ran toward it. The entrance was narrow. She had to crawl inside. The walls were wet, the air still cold. But at least it was not snowing inside. Lena sat down against the rock. She hugged her baby tightly. She tried to cover him with her coat, her arms, anything she had. Her fingers had no feeling now. Her face was numb. Body wanted to sleep. She looked at her baby again. His eyes were closed. "No," she whispered. "Not yet." She kissed his forehead. It was cold. "I'm sorry, little one. I really tried." Tears fell from her eyes, but they froze on her cheeks. She wrapped him tight, hugged him close, and then she closed her eyes. She was ready to die. Darkness, silence, nothing but then. Sound. Footsteps, slow, heavy. Something entered the cave. Lena did not move. She was too far gone to hear it, eh? Figure knelt beside her. Two warm hands touched her face. Then, a strange blue light. A hum soft and deep filled the air. The figure pulled Lena and the baby into his arms. His body was warm, warm. For this cold planet, his skin was not like hers. It glowed faintly, like fire hidden under skin. He looked at her face, then at the baby. He placed a glowing hand on the baby's chest. The baby breathed in sharply. Then the light from the man's hand faded. The baby was alive. The man looked at Lena. She was still cold, still half dead, but her heartbeat was strong. He opened a small device. Inside was a tiny flame. He set it on the ground. The cave began to warm slowly. Then he sat down beside her, wrapped a blanket around both of them, and waited. In the morning, Lena opened her eyes. She was warm. She was alive. She felt something heavy beside her. She turned her head slowly. A man was sitting next to her. His eyes were closed. His skin was glowing faintly like embers in the dark. Her heart jumped. She held her baby. He was breathing. She looked back at the man. He wasn't from Earth. He wasn't even human. Who was he? Why had he saved them? What was he doing here? On this cold, dead planet, Lena didn't know the answers. But she knew one thing for sure. She was no longer alone. Asterisk, Lena opened her eyes slowly. At first, everything was blurry. She saw shadows, soft orange light, and something moving. She blinked again. Fire. There was a fire burning near the wall. Not a big one, just enough to give light and warmth. And then she saw him. The man. He was sitting near the fire, quiet, still watching her, but he didn't look normal. His skin was smooth like metal, but soft like skin. It shimmered, not silver, not gold, but something in between, like light trapped under the surface. His eyes were deep. They were not black or brown or blue. They were glowing, white like the stars. Lena gasped softly. She looked down. Her baby was safe. Sleeping in her arms, she looked at the man again. He said nothing, just nodded slowly. His face was calm, gentle. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice dry. He didn't answer, but he raised his hands slowly, carefully. He touched his chest and said one word in a strange, deep voice. "Theron." His voice felt like it echoed inside her bones. Lena tried to sit up. Her body was still weak, but she was alive. Warm, alive. "Thank you," she said, holding her baby close. "You saved us." The man Theron looked at the fire, then reached into a small pack beside him. He took out a thin, square packet. He opened it and offered it to her. It was food. Soft, warm. She took a small bite. It tasted strange, but good. She looked around the cave. It was deeper than she thought. There were markings on the walls, ancient symbols, maybe a language. The fire wasn't wood. It was coming from a small device, advanced. Alien, Lena whispered, "You're not human." "Are you?" Theron didn't reply. Instead, he picked up a small metal plate and touched it. Hologram appeared, floating in the air. Lena gasped. It showed stars, planets, a red warning symbol, and Earth. Theron pointed to a planet marked in blue dot, then pointed to the cave. Lena understood. This planet was not meant to be found. It was hidden. She looked at him closely now. There were scars on his arms, long, deep, glowing faintly. Battle wounds. Old. He wasn't just living here. He was hiding. "Are you in danger?" she asked. Theron's face grew serious. He stood up and walked toward the mouth of the cave. He looked outside into the snowstorm. Then, without turning, he held up his hand. It was glowing again. He pointed to the snow suddenly. It stopped falling, just like that. The air turned silent. Lena's heart beat faster. This man, or whatever he was, had power. Real power. But why help her? Why save her baby? She looked down at her child. It was glowing faintly, just a soft warmth. Like Theron, her eyes widened. "No," she whispered. Theron turned and looked at her. His eyes full of quiet truth. Something had happened when he touched the baby. Some kind of transfer. Energy. Light. Her baby was different now. Changed. A soft hum echoed from deeper inside the cave. Theron, tensed, walked to the wall and pressed. His hand against a stone, a hidden door opened. Behind it was a long hallway, glowing with ancient blue light. Theron motioned her to follow. Lena stood up slowly, holding her baby. "Where are we going?" she asked. He looked at her, his face calm but serious, and spoke in broken English, slow and deep. "Truth lives here." Lena hesitated. But something inside her said go. She stepped forward. The fire behind them flickered once and went out. The hallway was glowing blue. Lena followed Theron through the hidden tunnel. She held her baby tight. Her feet moved slowly. Her heart beat fast. She had no idea what was ahead. But she knew it was not human. The walls of the tunnel were smooth. Not made by hands, but by machines. It's very old machines. Strange symbols glowed along the sides. Some looked like stars, some like eyes. Some looked like her baby's tiny glowing hands. She looked at him. His skin had a soft light now, just like Theron's. "What's happening to you?" she whispered. Theron walked ahead in silence. After a few minutes, they entered a large chamber, wide, round, and warm. At the center was a tall crystal glowing bright. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Around the room were stone statues. Not human. Each had long arms, large heads, and deep eyes. Lena stepped closer to one. It looked like Theron. She turned to him. "Is this your home?" He shook his head slowly. "Not home," he said. "Last memory." He walked to the crystal and touched it. The chamber lit up. A giant screen appeared in the air, not metal, not glass, just light. Images began to play. Lena watched, eyes wide. There were stars. Ships, planets, and she saw people, humans, meeting aliens. Theron's kind. They were shaking hands, smiling. It was peaceful. But then, war, explosions, fire, death. The aliens were attacked by other creatures, dark, full of teeth and claws. Machines followed them, red lights. Lasers. One by one, the peaceful aliens were wiped out. Theron pointed to one last image. A mother alien, holding a small child, running into the cave. The light faded. Lena understood this place. It's a tomb, Theron nodded. They die here. Alone. Her voice trembled. You're the last one. Theron looked at her baby. Not now. She stepped back. What do you mean? He touched the baby's hand gently. The crystal pulsed faster. A beam of light scanned the child. Then, from the wall, a machine voice spoke in English. Hybrid signal detected. Life form accepted. Welcome, new Starborn. Lena's mouth fell open. Hybrid Theron pointed to her, then to himself, then to the baby, half-human, half something else. No, she whispered. He's just a baby. Theron looked into her eyes. He is. More. Suddenly, the ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lena grabbed the wall. What was that? Theron moved to a screen. He tapped fast. Lights flashed red. Ship. Detected. Tracking signal. Hostile. Another ship. It's coming. Someone had found them. Lena stared at her baby. Was this why they crashed? Was this why no signal worked? Was this all planned? She looked at Theron. Did you bring us here? He shook his head. I did not call, but he did. He pointed to the baby. Lena's breath caught in her throat. Outside, the sound of engines grew louder. Theron looked at her, calm but firm. Now we run. Asterisk, the cave shook again. This time it wasn't just the ground, it was the sound. A low, deep hum, like a giant machine waking up. Lena turned to Theron. What's happening? Looked up toward the ceiling. His eyes were glowing brighter now. They are here. Who? Theron walked to the crystal in the middle of the chamber, pressed his hand to it. The crystal dimmed. The lights in the room went dark. Silence then, boom. A loud noise echoed from outside. Ship had landed. Lena hugged her baby tightly. He was glowing again, his tiny hands pulsing with soft light. Theron grabbed a long rod from the wall. It looked like a weapon, but it didn't have bullets. Instead, it sparked with blue energy. He turned to Lena. Follow. No sound, no fear. Nodded. They moved quickly down a narrow path. The hallway twisted and turned like a maze. Dust fell from the ceiling as the sound of boots grew louder above them. Voices echoed through the stone, not alien voices. Human. Lena stopped. Her eyes widened. They're human, she whispered. Theron didn't turn. Not your kind. They reached a door made of stone and light. Theron touched a panel, and it slid open. Beyond it was darkness. They stepped inside. The door closed behind them. Suddenly the chamber lit up. It was small, round, and full of floating symbols. The air felt heavy, ancient, then a sound, static, and a voice. Target confirmed. Theron 13. Orders. Capture. The child must not survive. Lena's blood turned cold. Her baby. Why? She shouted, He's just a baby. Theron looked at her. His face was calm, but his eyes were sad. They fear. What they don't understand? From the walls, tiny, spider-like machines came alive. They scanned Lena, her baby, and Theron. Then a panel opened in the floor. A lift. Come, he said. They stepped on it. It lowered them deeper underground fast. Suddenly the walls shook. Hole opened above. Men dropped in black suits, glowing red visors, large weapons. Move, Theron shouted. He raised the energy rod and pointed it at the ceiling. Boom. A wave of blue light blasted upward. The men screamed and were thrown back. The lift reached the bottom. They ran into another tunnel. It was wet, filled with steam and strange lights. Behind them, voices yelled. Footsteps chased them. Lena looked back. She saw one of the men. He wasn't just human. His face flickered half-dash machine. Eyes like cameras. Hands like blades. There. Not human, she gasped. No, Theron said. They were, once. They reached a dead end. A wall, no door, no path. They'll catch us, Lena cried. Theron looked at the baby. Not if he opens it. What? He's just the baby raised his hand. Light sparked. The wall melted into mist. Behind it, a hidden chamber. A massive door with symbols glowing all around. It opened slowly, like it hadn't opened in centuries. Inside, a ship, small, sleek, not broken. Theron led her inside. She sat down, holding her baby. He was glowing brighter than ever. Theron touched the controls. The ship came alive. Outside, the soldiers arrived. One raised his weapon. Bang! A blast hit the ship's side. But it didn't break. The ship rose into the air. The roof opened. The cave crumbled. They flew out. Into the cold sky? Lena looked down. The planet shrank below. The soldiers disappeared into the snow. She turned to Theron. Where are we going now? Theron looked forward, to where it began, and where it must end. She held her baby close, her heart racing. The storm was behind them, but something much bigger was waiting ahead. The stars moved slowly outside the window. Lena sat in the strange alien ship holding her baby. His skin still glowed softly in the dim blue light. His eyes were closed, but he wasn't sleeping like a normal child. It was like he was dreaming. Something far away. Theron stood silently at the front of the ship, his hands on glowing controls. He didn't speak, not even once during the flight. Finally, after long silence, Lena asked, Where are we going? Theron answered without turning. To the memory. She didn't understand, but she didn't ask again. The ship moved through a thin cloud of dust and stars. Then, from the darkness, something appeared. A structure, floating in space. Not a station, not a ship. A ring. A giant ring made of stone and light, slowly spinning. Bigger than a mountain, old covered in moss, cracks, and glowing alien texts. Lena gasped. What? Is that? Theron looked at her. The first gate. The secret of the old ones. And now, your son's key. The ship flew through the center of the ring. Suddenly, a flash of white light swallowed them. When the light faded, they were no longer in space. They were inside. A world. A hidden one. A forgotten one. Green fields stretched across valleys. Strange. Silver towers floated in the air like balloons. The sky was deep gold, with twin suns above. Birds with crystal wings flew overhead. Lena's mouth dropped open. This is beautiful. Theron nodded. This world was built by my kind. Long before war, long before fear. They landed on a stone platform near a temple. It looked ancient, but still alive. Lights pulsed in its walls. Vines crawled along its edges, yet it felt warm. Peaceful Lena stepped out, holding her baby. Theron walked beside her. They entered the temple. Inside were walls covered in glowing images. Pictures showed people, humans and aliens living together, building together. Lena stared. Humans were here before. Theron pointed at one image, a woman holding a glowing baby. She was surrounded by aliens bowing to her. She was the first, he said. A human, like you. Lena was speechless. She gave birth to the first hybrid, Theron continued. Like your son, she saved our people. For a time, he walked deeper into the temple. There was a large round table with carvings. At the center, a slot, small, the shape of a baby's hand. Theron looked at Lena. Place his hand here. Hesitated. What will happen? The truth, he replied. And the choice. Lena looked at her child. His eyes were now open, and glowing bright. She gently placed his tiny hand into the slot. The room shook, the walls lit up, every symbol burning gold. A voice spoke from the air. Calm, deep. New light detected. Starborn confirmed, accessing memory of the world. Images appeared around them, real, clear, moving like dreams. A world at peace, a war that broke it. A secret project to save one last spark, a child. The aliens used human DNA to hide it because humans were forgotten, ignored, unimportant. But that made them invisible and safe. Until now, until Lena's. Baby, the voice continued. The child holds the last code. He can restart the network. Or end it forever. What? Lena stepped back. What does that mean? She asked, panicked. Theron spoke quietly. Your son can awaken the stars, or leave them to sleep. He is not just a child anymore. He is the future. Suddenly, the air changed. The sky outside turned red. Alarms echoed through the temple. Theron touched the wall. Screen appeared. Ships, dozens. Of them, human-made. Military. They had followed them here. Lena looked at Theron. They'll take him. Theron's eyes narrowed. We'll use him or kill him. The voice spoke again. To protect the key, you must choose. Stay and fight. Or run and hide again. Lena looked at her baby. He looked back at her, and for the first time, she felt him inside her mind. His thoughts were clear. I don't want to run. Lena stood in the heart of the ancient temple. The world outside was turning red. The sky burned, as enemy ships moved across it like black birds. But inside the temple, time had stopped. Her baby's tiny hand still rested on the glowing table. And yet, something had changed. Lena could feel it in the air, in her skin, even in her mind. Baby's thoughts were no longer just soft feelings. They were words now. Clear. Don't be afraid, Mother. I'm with you. Lena looked down at him. His eyes were glowing gold. Not alien, not human, something new. She took a deep breath. They're coming. They'll take you from me. The baby raised his little hand and touched her face. Her fear melted suddenly. The temple shook. Boom. An explosion tore through the sky above. Stones cracked. Dust fell. Theron rushed forward. They've broken the gate. They're here. A voice echoed through the walls. Surrender the child, or we will destroy the temple. Lena looked at Theron. Why do they want him? Theron's face was calm. Because he can change everything. He can restart the ancient network, connect planets, bring peace, or destroy it all. Lena's eyes narrowed. But he's just a baby, Theron nodded. That's why you must choose. Choice confirmed, the temple voice spoke. Guardian must decide path, surrender, escape, or awaken the core. Core, Lena asked. Theron pointed to the glowing platform. This temple is more than stone. It's alive. It is a key to all lost worlds. Your child can open it, or shut it forever. Outside, more explosions rocked the ground. Smoke rose into the golden sky. Enemy soldiers were coming. Fast. Lena's heartbeat thundered. She had 3 paths: surrender, hand over her son, and live in fear. Escape, run again, always hiding, or awaken the core, unleash whatever power was hidden inside her child. She looked into her son's glowing eyes. What do you want? And again, the voice in her mind. I want to protect you. And them. I don't want to hide anymore. Lena stepped forward. Her feet were steady. She picked up her baby, kissed his forehead, and whispered, Then let's wake the stars. Placed his hand on the center of the table again. This time, the room didn't shake. It sang. A deep, ancient sound filled the temple like a choir of stars. Light poured from the walls, the floor, and the sky above. Outside, the enemy soldiers stopped. Their weapons began to spark. The machines around them froze. Ships in the sky flickered. powered down and fell softly to the ground like leaves. Lena held her baby close as the temple rose from the earth, floating into the air. Theron stood beside them, smiling for the first time. "You chose the harder path," he said. "But you chose right." The temple rose higher, into the clouds then. Beyond, into the stars. The stars stretched out forever. No sound, no war, just silence and light. The ancient temple floated peacefully in the deep of space, glowing like a small sun, no longer hidden, it's no longer sleeping. Inside, Lena stood at the center of the star chamber. Her baby was in her arms, eyes still glowing, brighter than ever. But now the light wasn't wild. It was calm, controlled, alive. Theron stood beside them. His face was full of wonder, as if he were seeing the universe for the first time. "What happens now?" Lena asked softly. Theron looked around the temple. Symbols moved on their own. The walls shifted, revealing new paths. Lights traced old roads across the stars. "This place," he said, "was meant to lead us forward. Your son has opened the path again." Lena looked down at her child. "He's still just a baby." Theron nodded. "But his soul is older than any of us now." Suddenly the temple pulsed with light. A voice spoke from the air, not cold, not mechanical. It sounded like many voices together, all soft, warm, almost human. Starborn confirmed. Balance restored. Activate. Seed transmission. Outside the temple, beams of golden light shot across the galaxy. They moved faster than any ship. Faster than thought, they entered dead worlds and lit them with green. They entered broken machines and made them live again. They reached ancient satellites and woke them up. Planets that were dark for centuries now lit up like stars. Lena watched it all from a giant screen on the temple wall. She couldn't find the words. Theron answered for her, beginning. But the peace didn't last long. A red alert flashed behind them. Enemy signals, the last remaining. Ships, trying to restart, trying to fire, trying to take back control. Theron turned to Lena. "You must decide. Speak his name." "What?" "Your son has power. But he needs your voice to shape it. Speak his name, and his path will become clear." Lena looked down at her child. He looked up at her. She remembered the cold, the pain, the moment she closed her eyes to die. And the moment he brought warmth, Lena smiled, tears in her eyes. "Your name is Solon." The baby Solon blinked once, and everything changed. The stars moved. The red alerts stopped. The enemy ships turned away, not destroyed, but calmed. Their systems powered down. Their weapons dropped. Solon had spoken back, not with words, but with peace. The temple lights dimmed. The voice returned. "Starborn Solon, Guardian Lena, path set. History begins again." Theron stepped back, his glow starting to fade. Lena noticed. "Wait, what's happening to you?" He smiled. "My time ends. I was the last of before. You are the first of after." Lena held Solon tighter. Theron walked into the light. He didn't vanish in pain. He became light, and then was gone. The temple doors opened wide. A soft road of stars stretched ahead into space. Lena stood tall, no longer afraid, no longer alone. With Solon in her arms, she stepped forward into the light. Not to run, but to lead.